Hey guys, so it's an interesting video on Wild Rift. So we're back with a discussion on support items and why they work, and also on having a double support item bot lane and why that works and why that is broken in the current meta at the moment. Now, in the background, I labeled this video as a Kai'Sa commentary guide, but it's really more so focused on the support items and not Kai'Sa. In the background, I have a Kai'Sa gameplay. Now, this is a PvP match. As you guys can see, we have Yone on both teams. I'm recording this on the day that Yone released, and I released this video a couple of days after. But basically, I just wanted to show my friend who's the Soraka that this double support thing actually works. So I'm not going to be talking about the gameplay at all. You guys can see that for yourself. Unless we finish talking about the items early, then I would talk about the last part of the gameplay. But today we're going to be focusing on talking about support items and why they work. So support items were added in patch 3.4, and there are two of them, the Spectral Sickle as well as the Relic Shield. So I'm going to go through what Spectral Sickle does first. So basically every 10 seconds you get a stack of Spectral Sickle. If you look at the Soraka, you can see the stack of Spectral Sickle, those yellow orbs, and every time you damage an enemy champion or an enemy structure, you will proc one of those stacks and get 30 extra gold. And it's basically just that simple. So now for Relic Shield, it's the one that I have, and that I don't have any stacks at the moment, but you can see the blue orbs will go around me when you have the stacks. So what the Relic Shield does is, it's not every 10 seconds, but I think it's every 20 seconds if I'm not wrong, you'll get a stack. And what that stack does is when you when you execute a minion. So for melee champions, you can execute a minion below 50 HP, and for ranged champions, when it's below 30 HP, like you guys can see here, boom, we execute the minion, like so. So when we execute the minion, we will get 125% gold. The person with the Relic Shield gets 125% gold, and the other person in the lane gets 100% gold. So this is why if the support has Relic Shield, let him proc the Relic Shield on those higher value minions. For example, if he procs it on a cannon, the support is going to get 115 gold, whereas you will still get your normal 85 gold. You don't actually lose anything. So some ADCs who didn't read the patch notes or don't understand how support items work will start spam pinging their support when they start so-called quote-unquote stealing their last hits, whereas what they're actually doing is benefiting both people in the bot lane. So just want to do a quick explanation on the support items, and yeah, so how it works basically is you also get this extra passive on the support item, which gives you passive income. It gives you 1 gold per 3 seconds, and when you eventually get it up to the max evolution, you will get 2 gold per 3 seconds. Speaking of evolutions, the items will evolve twice. So both the sickle as well as the shield will evolve once when you reach 500 gold earned through the item, and again once you earn another 500 gold through the item. So who takes what? So basically, long story cut short, the Spectral Sickle stacks faster if you're able to proc it consistently compared to the Relic Shield. The Relic Shield takes longer time to stack, but the Spectral Sickle can only be taken by champs who have poking abilities. So for example, think champions like Nami, Karma, and maybe like Soraka. Like, these are just a couple of examples of champions who have poke abilities that are able to be used to proc Spectral Sickle. However, if you think about, like, for example, champions like Alistar, or Leona, is really difficult to proc Spectral Sickle, so you want to go for the Relic Shield. Because all you need to do is last hit minions and proc the Relic Shield. So now, if you're ever in doubt, you can always go for Relic Shield, because that is the safe one. Even for enchanters, in some matchups, you want to take Relic Shield and not Spectral Sickle. Now think about this. For example, if let's say you are a Karma, for example, and you want, okay, Karma maybe isn't the best example, but let's just say you're a Nami, for example. You want to walk up to point and click W onto somebody, so you need to put yourself in a semi-dangerous position in order to actually get off your poke. And if you're against, let's say you're against a Draven and Pike lane, you don't want to do that, because if you walk up to proc your Spectral Sickle and you get hooked, or you just take like 2 auto attacks from Draven, it really isn't worth it anymore. You might as well just take the Relic Shield and use the Relic Shield to just farm that way. So basically, in certain matchups, you can only take Relic Shield, and some champions can only take Relic Shield and can't take Spectral Sickle. If ever in doubt, just take Relic Shield, because it's the safer of the two items. Because for Spectral Sickle, you actively have to poke in order to proc it. But like I said, Spectral Sickle evolves faster. So if you want to get the evolution faster, you go for the Spectral Sickle. And when you get to max evolution for both of them, whenever you get a takedown or a kill in combat, you will reduce your enchantment cooldown by 40 seconds, and this can proc multiple times, so you can actually cast something like Redemption 2 to 3 times in a team fight, and I have actually done that before. Alright, so now I'm going to explain the 3 possible combos for the bot lane in terms of the support item combos and why they work. So first up, of course, is the most effective combo, which is the double Relic Shield combo. So if both the ADC and support takes Relic Shield, you will actually get more gold overall. Now, I'm going to actually include a picture to show you guys right here of both bot lanes being 0, 0, and 0. And basically, you guys can see that in my bot lane, me and my support has a lot more gold in the enemy bot lane, and that's just from the double Relic Shield strat. So double Relic Shield strat is the best, and if you're a dual queue, always do the double Relic Shield strat. Why is that the case? Because when both people can proc Relic Shield, the ADC should farm the higher value minions, for example the cannon, because ADC gets 125% from the cannon, and then support should farm like the lower value ones like the caster if both people have Relic Shield up. Basically, since you're getting 125% gold for yourself and you're giving 100% gold to the other person, overall, even though you get less gold when you don't have Relic Shield up, when you actually do have Relic Shield up and both people proc it, eventually you end up getting more gold than what you actually lost. So long story cut short is, it simply works because of the math. Essentially, we don't need to get into the nitty-gritty details of why it works, but basically you end up earning more gold than what you lost by buying the support item, which is why you should always buy double support item in the bot lane. So, and you also get that basically like free 40% reduction when you actually have the evolution. So the other possible combo is, of course, double Spectral Sickle combo, which you go for this combo when you have 2 people who want to poke a lot. For example, if you have a Caitlyn and you have a Nami, the double Spectral Sickle combo is very likely to be seen, because both of you have really long range and both of you can poke out the opponents. Now, the main reason you go for this is because, as I said, you evolve it faster, but as I said, in terms of gold, earning gold, having double Relic Shield is still going to be superior all the time. And the final combo is, of course, 1 Spectral Sickle and 1 Relic Shield, whether it be it on support or on ADC, it's 1 each basically. So basically what I'm trying to say is that you should always have double support items basically in every possible scenario, even when you're in solo queue. So of course when you're in solo queue, if you are the ADC, you do have the power to, of course, get that extra support item and benefit both yourself and your support. But if you are, you know, of course, playing the support, you can't really force your ADC to do that, so that's a little bit unfortunate, but you just won't get the benefits of the double support item. Yeah, so there are actually 2 drawbacks to having a double support item. I'm going to go through the 2 of them. So the first one is actually one that you can actually see right now in the gameplay. So here, as you guys can see, we're about 8 minutes into the game. We've basically reached the mid game, and if you guys notice, my Relic Shield still isn't fully stacked up to max stacks yet. So the issue with that is that generally your support ends up roaming to mid or roaming to top, that kind of thing, and you are sometimes having to stay at bot lane in order to farm. And because of that, you don't have anyone nearby you and you can't proc your Relic Shield, because you need a nearby ally in order to proc the Relic Shield. So you could be in a scenario where you have to take an entire wave with reduced XP. And that is pretty much the biggest problem when it comes to having a Relic Shield on or a Spectral Sickle on an ADC, is if you don't evolve it fast enough, like me in this game. You guys can see I still have 2 stacks around me, but they're not active because there's no one near me. Now that I'm near Yone, it's active again, that sort of deal. So basically, the drawback is that if you don't have it fully stacked by the mid game, you could be in a situation where you're left alone, like me in this lane right now. I'm left alone. There is a wave in front of me. I have to farm this wave. And I'm getting less gold from this wave, as you guys can see. The other problem is a little bit more minor, which is just simply the fact that it takes up an item slot. And because it takes up an item slot, when you get to later on in your build, sometimes you can only build half of the item, like only 1 item component out of the 2, which is a lot more of a minor problem, but it only becomes a little bit of a bigger problem if you're trying to build the armor penetration item. Sometimes you need both the Executioner's Calling as well as the Last Whisper in order to get both the armor penetration as well as the Grievous Wounds before you eventually get your Moral Reminder. And because of that, you can't actually get that because you have 1 extra item slot blocked off by the support item Of course, when you reach full build, you want to actually sell your support item if you are the ADC and get your final item like a GA or like a crit item, something like that. You don't want to have the support item all the way to the very end of the game, of course, unless the game ends early, like this game. Obviously, you guys can see that the video is only like 12 minutes long, so obviously this game ended up being a really quick one. But yeah, so that's basically somewhat it about what the support items are and what they do, who takes which item, why the support items work, being giving you the passive gold income and the support quest to proc for gold, and the 3 support item combos you can take in the duo lane, as well as the drawbacks for the ADC. Now I just want to put a very minor note right at the end, which is that having double support item benefits the support more than the ADC. Because, you guys can see the enemy team surrendered here, because what actually happens is the ADC with the support item will get around the same amount of gold income as the enemy ADC. However, the support gets way more income than the enemy support, so it actually benefits the support way more than it benefits the ADC. But the ADC doesn't actually lose anything by going for the support item, which is why I recommend all the ADCs going for the support item. Anyways, as you guys can see, we've reached the end of the gameplay, we've reached the end of the discussion as well, and we've reached almost the end of the stats. So, leave you guys with the last few pages of the stats. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.